ladies and gentlemen. I took a look at this man and I knew I seen him before. I can tell you exactly what happened to him. He witnessed a murder. Now, this happened out of the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He witnessed a murder and he picked up the phone to call the police to report what happened. When the police showed up on the scene, he got arrested and charged for the murder. It kind of makes it hard if something goes down and black men and women are around for us to even help you by calling the police because the police will show up and start making accusations against us. You know, I mean, if that's the way you want it, that's fine with me. So he is the third man this week. Now, mind you, it's just Wednesday. He's the third man this week exonerated for murder in the city of Philadelphia. It just goes to show you how this is a huge problem in America. The third in less than a week. David Sparks of Philadelphia exonerated of a 2006 murder of Gary Hall. The district attorney's office announced at a press conference on Monday. His release sparks the third murder exoneration of an African American man in less than a week in Philadelphia. Now, we know they put our people in jail in all 50 states and no crime was committed. Sparks was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole in 2008. When he was 16, he was convicted of a Labor Day murder of 19-year-old Gary Hall, who was shot and killed while riding a bicycle away from an argument in Nicetown, Pennsylvania. He was at a Chinese takeout restaurant. He was right outside in front of this restaurant. By the end of the day, Monday, Sparks was expected to be released from prison after 17 years, according to the DA's office. Sparks was met at the courthouse by his brother and by family members who celebrated his return. He also has a daughter who was long awaiting his release. According to the DA's office, Sparks was cleared due to new information about police investigation of retaliatory violence among teens and young people in the neighborhood at the time that led to the conclusion that Sparks' constitutional rights had been violated at the trial and that he is likely innocent of the crime altogether. No, what happened was bad police work. Bad police. Wow, this is such a shame that something like this would even happen to him, at such a young age and ending up behind bars. And he doesn't even get out until he's in his 30s. Unbelievable. So, the Philadelphia the city of Philadelphia, they have a DA's office conviction integrity unit, and it's used for gun violent murders that also been used, so a gun that's been used in a murder and, days earlier by another suspect. And that's what they found in this case. The gun that was used again a few days later by a whole different suspect by the name of Ivan Simmons. And he was another teen that lived in the same town. So during the earlier murders, you know, Ivan Simmons was involved in other shootings. Okay. And they believe that now, of course, they believe he killed Gary Hall, who David Sparks got accused of killing. And the killing was a retaliation shooting. out on the streets. My goodness, you mean to tell me it took you 17 years to determine who really pulled the trigger? And these folks walk around here thinking the police should be trusted. Yeah, right. So, anyway, in another turn of the case, there was another suspect by the name of Nick Walker who confessed to being part of the retaliatory shootings. Okay, so through a conviction integrity unit investigation, we requested the Philadelphia Police Department Firearms Identification Unit conduct a ballistics test of fiber cartridge casings that were not at the scene of the murder. They came back essentially as a match to the murder that occurred. The alternative suspect, murderer, was also the prime suspect in the case. That the information was withheld from the defense. Because of that, we're pleased that the judge has granted us a new trial and we're able to process that case today. And that's another thing. Y'all notice the high amount of times they withhold evidence from a black man's case that could have freed him. I see that pattern in all of these exonerations. In most cases, they have clear evidence that the person they are putting on trial didn't commit the crime, but they withhold that evidence that can clear that person. And I see that as a pattern. I see that in every single one of these exoneration cases. To me, if you withhold evidence that can free a person that did not commit the crime, then whoever withheld the evidence should go to jail. They should go to jail. So if the cop withheld the evidence, the cop should go to jail. If the prosecutor did, the prosecutor should go to jail. And they should not be allowed to go on working either. They should be fired. So, anyway, Sparks' constitutional rights were violated in significant ways, including the suppression of information by the Philadelphia police homicide detectives from witnesses who implicated Simmons and his brother in the murders of Hall and Curry. The victim, Hall, was 19 years old, a recent high school graduate and aspired to become a skilled carpenter. He and his loved ones and all the victims of violence deserve a criminal legal system that seeks to avoid devastating errors. Well, to me, you're not doing anything for the victim if you're putting innocent people behind bars. Sparks' release follows the announcement of exoneration of Curtis Kingwood, Fahim Davis, who were also cleared of murder charges in the murder of Christopher Lee in 2011. Wow. The DA's Conviction Integrity Unit and the Pennsylvania Court of Common Pleas announced that Kingwood, he was charged with rape, and of course, he didn't do it, you know, and he was let go out of custody 43 hours before Sparks. The court found three key problems in King's case. Two people who were with Lee when, they were raped and murdered at Jefferson and Linwood Streets in West Philadelphia could not identify King and Davis as suspects. Another individual had access to the gun used in the murder, and a homicide detective provided false testimony in the case that sent them to jail. And they did not do this. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. And they were sentenced to 49 years behind bars for a rape and murder that never happened. They did not commit it. Somebody else did. I mean, how do you feel safe when the police is not even getting the right people? So you're really never safe. You're never safe out here at all. Mm-mm-mm. The Philadelphia criminal legal system continues to unwind wrongful convictions and other injustices tied to former detective Philip Nordo. Outrageous crimes. Said, okay, so y'all are fully aware that you had a detective that was falsifying crimes and sending black men to jail? Wow. Well, Philip Nordo should go to jail. Sound like some Italian dude. Two wrongfully convicted men are exonerated today for a terrible crime. Kratzner called these mistakes. Those aren't mistakes, y'all. If somebody withhold evidence, that is a deliberate act. That's not a mistake. Incredibly expensive, incredibly inhumane. These virtual war games that have been committed in the past by taking innocent people and putting them in jail for decades for things they never did cannot be repeated, adding that we are furthering the interests of justice by doing this kind of work. So, I mean, that's a nice statement, but that sure don't free all of the innocent people y'all have purposely put behind bars. That's why you can't come in my face talking about your system. I know your system is garbage. So, anyway, y'all, please tell me what you think about the story. And, congratulations to David Sparks and his family for finally getting him out of a jail that he never should have been in. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.